All right, everybody, welcome to Dave's Library and Cigar Lounge for another edition of the world famous podcast. I don't know if this is a podcast, I don't know what you call this. YouTube episode of Old Dude Knows. In this episode, I'm going to help you. For you people that aren't so bright, I'm going to help you sound more intelligent. For those of you who are smart but sound unintelligent because you use phrases incorrectly, and then other people either blatantly make fun of you, or more than likely, if they're polite, in their head, they make fun of you for saying the phrase incorrectly. Or use a phrase, not only say it incorrectly, but use it incorrectly. The first one is really not a phrase or something like that. It's a little bit different, but it's something that people. Hang on a second. I got a Rocky Patel 1992 going here. So if you want to watch this, you put it on pause right now if you want to have a cigar. And I have some McClellan 12 year. So if you want to play along completely and you have cigars and some good hooch, if you want to copy completely, this is a Rocky Patel 1992 McClellan 12 year. Go ahead, put it on pause, get that ready, and then start over again. All right, now that you're ready to go, I didn't drink any of that during the pause. Anyway, something that people say all the time, and it really bothers me, and it shouldn't. Most of these things that I'm going to talk about really bother me, and that's a me problem. It probably really shouldn't. They really shouldn't bother me, but they do. And this is one that people say, and it really bothers me, but I can never correct them because when they say it, it is such a time that even someone who will say almost anything at any time, like I will, even I know this is not the time when they say it. And here's what happens. Good old 87, 92-year-old great Aunt Marge dies. Aunt Marge was a great woman, a godly woman, went to church, helped out with the poor, loved Jesus, was a very nice, never had a bad word to say about anybody. Aunt Marge was one of the best human beings she could possibly be. Aunt Marge has passed away. Someone at the funeral or at the funeral home will say, well, heaven got another angel. No, they didn't. Heaven did not get another angel. Aunt Marge did not become an angel. Aunt Marge is a human. Humans and angels are different. Aunt Marge may be in heaven right now, but she is not an angel. Angels, different beings than humans. Angels can look like humans, but cannot become humans. Humans cannot become angels. Different. Another time you'll hear this, especially, is when a young child or a baby dies. You know, you see all this very innocent, oh, heaven gets another angel. No, they didn't. And you can see why, even I know, when somebody says this, it's not the time to correct them because they're sad. And so now I'm saying this at a time when now you know, and the next time it comes up, you won't say it. Thank you very much. Again, is it really bad? I mean, it's terrible theology, but it bothers me more than it should. Another one that has to do with, tangentially with religion, is sharper than a two-edged sword. The reason that that is used incorrectly is because it's used out of context. Barnabas or Silas or Priscilla or whoever wrote Hebrews, I think it's Hebrews 4:12, it is the word of God is like a two-edged sword. It cuts, I have it written down here, it divides the soul. Anyway, why did that writer use a two-edged sword? Because a two-edged sword is the sharpest sword of all time? No. They were being the Romans had taken over the area. The Roman sword that was most used was a gladius Hisperana, or Hisperanus probably is more correct if my B in Latin in 1981 still goes through. But anyway, they used a short two-edged sword. It was in Israel at the time was the most feared weapon. The weapon you were most likely to die by if you screwed up and pissed off the Roman legions. So why did Barnabas or Silas or Priscilla or whoever, they were writing where they were with what they knew? Had the Japanese come over at the same time, all the way from Japan, and taken over Israel, it would say in the Bible, sharper than a katana. Katana is much sharper than the Roman two-edged sword. But, so, a two-edged sword, not the sharpest sword, is being used because that's what they knew. Too many people use that very much incorrectly. So, anyway, enough about that. Another one that just kills me. And I often will comment on this, usually under my breath. Well, I was going the wrong way, but then I did a 360. Really? You did a 360. You spun all the way around. If I'm looking the wrong way, let's say this was the wrong way, and I spin in the chair and I do a 360, I'm going to be looking the same way. Now, if I'm going the wrong way and I do a 180, that's good. This shows me not only are your English skills poor, but your math skills also not good. So, if you're going in the wrong direction or something's going in the wrong direction, you want to go in the right direction, let's do a 180. Let's not do a 360. You'll be going in the same direction. You know what? That really pisses me off. I could care less what they think. Well, if you could care less what they think, in order to do less of something, that means you have to have some of it. So if you could care less, that means you care some, right? If I could care less, that means I have to care some or wouldn't have less to care. I couldn't care less means I don't care at all. So see the difference there? All right. Bated breath. They waited with bated breath. Does that mean their breath smells like worms? Or their breath has a fly with a hook on it? No. It is baited as in bait, B-A-T-E. Okay? It's suspenseful. I waited in suspense. Not I waited with breath that smells like a worm. We don't use the word bait too much. We use a bait, but we don't use bait. But there you go. That one, you don't notice it when people say it because it sounds the same, but in writing, you'll see that. And then I just laugh at those people. Irregardless. Never say irregardless. Irregardless isn't even a word. And if it were a word, it would mean opposite of what you think it means. Use the word regardless. There's no such thing as irregardless. Don't say it anymore, unless, like I'm doing, you're saying it to explain to other people why they shouldn't use it. Uh-oh. We have a problem. Okay, problem solved. So I solved that problem quickly. I'm honing in on the problem. You're honing in, to hone, to sharpen, to... So are you sharpening in on the problem? No, you're homing in on the problem. You're getting closer and closer to the problem. You're homing in. You're not honing in. Honing is to sharpen. Homing is to get closer. You're welcome. Let's see, I'm going to do all these. I have a whole bunch of these. You don't wait on people. unless you're a server at a restaurant. Then you can wait on somebody. If you say, I'm waiting on Bob, then you better be going back to the kitchen and getting Bob his BLT, because you're not waiting on him unless you are a waiter or a waitress. Or I don't think you're allowed to say that anymore. I think that's sexist. A server, or whatever they're called this week, which apparently now we have to tip 97%. I don't tip that much, but I tip more than most people, but not the percent they say now. But that's a whole different thing. But bottom line is, you don't wait on people unless you are staff at a restaurant. You wait for them. Got it? Not that hard. Okay, what's another I got? Oh, a moot point. It's not a mute point. It's not a point that is silent. M-U-T-E. No, it is a moot point. Although, if you watched Friends, there was a classic one where Joey Tribbiani, and the proper thing would have been a moot point, but says it's a moo point. And Rachel looks at him like, a moo point? And he goes, yeah, like a cow's opinion. Nobody cares. A moo point. Pretty funny. And more correct than a mute point. So, all right. This last one isn't incorrect. Matter of fact, it's very correct. It just used at the wrong time. So, you're having a problem. You try to fix it yourself. You can't fix it. You get some friends. They can't help you. You go to a professional. They can't help you. So you say, I guess all we can do is pray. Why didn't you pray to start with? Just a thought. So that's all for today. A shorter one. Didn't have one last week because I was at the lake. But now I'm home by myself for 4 days. So you'll probably get some more this week. The next one is going to be a double, because I was with the hockey playoffs. I was going to go my favorite 10 hockey players of all time. But then I realized it would just be 10 Red Wings. So I'm going to do my favorite 10 Red Wings and my favorite 10 hockey players that weren't Red Wings. So that's going to be, tune in and see if your favorite team makes it. If your favorite team is Colorado, good chance you won't have one. All right. So this old dude knows. Now you know. Have a good day.